Hello, today is World Mental Health Day, the 10th of October. My name is Robert Walker, I'm a GP in Basingstoke and one of the writers and researchers for the NB Medical Hot Topics team. So this year, World Mental Health Day is focusing on suicide prevention, so I thought it might be useful just to share a few thoughts and learning points that I've picked up over the last 12 months from my work with the Hot Topics team. I'm going to focus on the area of adolescents and young people with mental health problems and suicide, as this is an area where we've had quite a lot of literature and commentary over the last 12 months or so. I'm sure many of us are aware that suicide, sadly, is still the second leading cause of death in the under 25s. However, the literature over the last 12 months or so has shown some quite worrying trends and statistics. Sadly, the rates of suicide in the 15 to 19-year-old group is on the rise in the UK. And alongside that, I'm sure all GPs out there will know that the rate of self-harm in this age group is going up massively. Importantly, these two areas are linked, and I think that has very much been one of the learning points for me over the last 12 months or so. The evidence now is reasonably strong that self-harm is probably the biggest risk factor for suicide in this age group. I'm sure as GPs we all know the importance of giving this group of patients time to talk. We need to listen to them in an empathetic way. We need to take their problems seriously. And if done well, we know that can be an important therapeutic process in its own right. But what about when they leave the consultation room? Are they still at risk of suicide, and how can we help reduce that risk? In an ideal world, many of these people would be under specialist mental health services, but sadly there just is not the resource or the personnel to help provide that. Thankfully, there are lots of resources out there for us. And one of the real privileges of working for the Hot Topics team is we're often sent ideas and thoughts for resources for patient self-help by our colleagues around the country, and this area was no exception. There are far too many to mention here, but I will just mention a few that I'm particularly using on a personal level at the moment. There's the Calm Harm app, which can be downloaded free, can help reduce the risk of self-harm. Kooth is an excellent website and gives online counselling services to young people and adolescents. Young Minds is a very good source of information and support, and particularly I'd like to draw your attention to their crisis text messaging service, which people in crisis can text and a trained counsellor will get back to them. And finally, I'd like to just point out the Happy Maps website, which was a website set up by a GP, Dr. Jasmine Kirscher, in the Bristol area, and it's got a wealth of excellent information and signposting for both children, adolescents and parents. So if you haven't seen that website, please do have a look at that. You can see and get the links to all of those websites either through the link at the bottom of this video, or if you go to the NB Medical website, you can access for free all of our blogs on there. Dr. Simon Curtis did a blog in March 2019 on adolescent mental health, and all of the links that I've mentioned there, plus a number of others, are there in his blog. So I hope that's been a useful run through of a couple of learning points for resources and thoughts for you for your consultations going forward. And let's make sure that we remember and think about suicide prevention when we see our patients with self-harm.